Dear Wanderers. Yep, you guessed it. Another portrait. Look, I know. I paint portrait after portrait, but I made it very clear that I enjoy painting people. I mean, come on. Faces alone tell a story. I know that may seem like I'm cheating when it comes to creating art that tells a story within itself, but I'm not. Relax. It still takes translating a story visually. Or does it? So, I shared with you my issues with opening up and being guarded. Blah, blah, blah. What I haven't shared with you is why and how I'm like this. So, I wrote a story. Like to hear it? Here it go. Growing up, I knew my sisters were a handful. I ain't taking no digs. I'm just saying my sisters were a handful. I also knew that women were very precious and needed to be treated and handled with care, especially during their upbringing. I was able to figure that out at a very young age. I'm not going to paint the picture of being a child that wasn't loved, because that wasn't the case. I'm not painting the picture that I was the black sheep, even though at times I did feel a little awkward being the youngest, the only boy, and the only one in the household with a completely different last name. What I will say is that I tried my best to not add frustration or stress to my mother. I wanted to be the one that wasn't a problem. So if something bothered me, I tried to handle it quietly. The older I got, the better I got at handling things quietly for some time. When it got to a point where I no longer knew how to handle certain problems, as you get older, new problems arise, and I didn't know how to handle these new problems. So I went from handling certain things quietly to just keeping quiet. This carried over into my adulthood because I associated being vocal about my problems and concerns and doubts and worries with being problematic and being a burden to others. This created some major problems because I was still human. So bottling things up inside, even once I'm at maximum capacity for pain and bullshit, I did do what every human being would do in situations like that. I broke down. I was in a very turbulent relationship with a very hurt individual during a time I also was a hurt individual. And we hurt each other a lot. During that relationship, we unintentionally took a break from our problems to break each other down. For example, I had moments where I talked about some of the most fragile and difficult times in my life. And unfortunately, my confessions were later thrown in my face as a way to hurt me. That made it very easy for me to keep things to myself and internalize a lot of what I dealt with, which also made it harder for me to let my guard down and made it harder for me to let my guard down even around those that I knew loved me. When you experience a pain like that, having, your deepest fears and concerns and things that happened in the past get thrown at you in your face, ooh, that's an attack. That's a pain. That is a pain. And you do everything in your power to avoid being hurt like that again. It's called survival. So I say all that to say this. Despite what I look like or how I'm viewed by others, I'm one strong beast who is more than capable of tearing some shit down or building something greater than me. I just have to figure out how to translate the shit in my art. But in the meantime, I am more than happy to practice my skills and share my progress with you. Now today, I am painting the one and only Regina Renaye. Now, you all don't get to see the original photos that I use as a reference for my portraits, so I'll share with you some of the things I do to really make each piece my own and to also bring out what I see in the individual I'm painting. It's real simple too. Are you ready for it? I try to stay 100% true to the face, but I change everything else. Literally. If the model I'm referencing has straight hair, I'll paint an afro. If the model is wearing a bikini, I may add a tank top and a sun hat. In this case, my model, Regina Renaye, was pictured in straight hair, and her body was not visible in the picture. So what did I do? I got rid of the floating head illusion, and I gave her a pretty little head wrap. Now, as you also know, I'm a graphic design freak, so this unfinished piece is currently now finished and will be recreated later on my computer to make a more striking and way more interesting portrait. But in the meantime, go on and enjoy this beginning of endless possibilities, and I'm enjoying sharing it with you. So this is the finished painting of Regina Renaye, and later I will share with you the finished graphic design piece for Regina Renaye. Thanks for spending time with me. Have a great day and do something creative. Your friend, a hopeful net.
Free your mind.